usual, the General Secretary, I should first of all introduce the top table. I'm sure you know them all. Our presidents do know by meaning.
What is this? Statement.
General Secretary, Zwanezile Babi, First Deputy President, Dr. James. The General Secretary will read out the statement which you have in front of you, and then it will be open to you to ask questions.
We must first apologize on behalf of 3 other office bearers. The second Deputy President is addressing the NUM's Women's Conference taking place as we speak in Bedford. The Deputy General Secretary is having an engagement in Pretoria that started at 10 and is unable to come. And the National Treasurer, Frida Oosthuizen, have gone to her union's National Executive Committee in Cape Town, which is also starting today. Can we send the journalists around to ask them to close this door behind?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you ready? I see that some fellow is in trouble. Yes. You thought that we won't start in time. We'll give you just 1 minute.
Thanks.
So you don't have papers to sign?
No?
What you don't have papers to sign today?
Oh, like what?
Which papers, Ranjan?
The last time we had papers to sign. Yes, had papers.
You can't be signing every day, man.
Oh, I see.
Okay, I get what you are saying now. You can't be signing court papers every day.
Imagine, we will kick you out of this press conference if you don't behave.
I thought it's only affiliates that can be expelled from the
We can expel journalists too. Yeah. Julius Malema did it. Why can't we do it?
We can roll. We are forced to convene this press conference with a view of setting the record straight following the distortion of the Cosatu's Special Central Executive Committee decision. Instead, the charges we quoted that against the Cosatu General Secretary, nothing can be further from the truth. The Cosatu's Special CC took no such a decision. For the record, we wish to reiterate the statement issued by the Cosatu National Office Bearers on the 14th of November 2014, which we attach and we will read, following a series of discussions amongst themselves. This we are reading to the record in order to help the public understand the context of the yesterday's CC discussions. So we wish to read that statement we issued on the 14th of November. It read as follows: that the National Office Bearers of the Congress of South African Trade Unions, Cosatu, wishes to inform Cosatu members, the members of the allied formations, the friends in the civil society, all South Africans, and indeed our sister federations across the globe, that we, the 6 National Office Bearers of the Federation, have been holding crucial discussions amongst ourselves since Monday, the 10th of November, 2014. This follows the momentous occurrences in the Federation which included the Cosatu Special Central Executive Committee held on the 7th of November 2014, the press conference of Cosatu held on the 11th of November 2014, and the statement by the General Secretary to the national office bearers and affiliated unions, as well as the letters we received from certain affiliates announcing their suspension of their participation in the Cosatu Central Executive Committee. We are happy to inform you that these frank and robust discussions amongst ourselves, whilst they have not resolved all issues, have created possibilities for similar discussions to take place between us and the affiliates of Cosatu. History has given us a special responsibility as the leadership of the Federation to spare no energy in ensuring the integrity of workers' unity within Cosatu. In this context, we shall, on our own, and also through the assistance of the ANC task team and the former Cosatu leaders, embark on a process to confront all issues that have led to the Federation finding itself in these uncharted waters. We have agreed that this discussion should not be based on untouchable holy cows, and that none of us should put stumbling blocks and place preconditions so that we can only succeed if it is inclusive. We are calling on affiliates on all of our provincial and local structures to help create an environment that will assist us to be able to reach out to one another. We call on all individuals and affiliates who have launched a public onslaught against one another or other comrades and other affiliates to forthwith stop these attacks. We are in particular concerned about and accordingly unequivocally condemn the insults and the personalization of organizational decisions. We call on everyone to step back from trading insults and instead take their own initiative, as we have done, to reach out to one another for the sake of workers' unity and their future. We issued this statement on the 14th. We feel that we must start there because we didn't necessarily call a press conference to articulate that decision. The special CC held on the 7th of November 2014 adjourned its session and decided to continue its deliberations on the 19th of November 2014, at which the CC had a discussion on the current challenges facing the Federation. The CC agreed to leave no stone unturned in search of solutions to the differences that have arisen, with a view of ensuring the integrity of workers' unity under Cosatu. All leaders of Cosatu, without an exception, have a responsibility to ensure that we do not fail in this historic mission. The CC accepted this engagement. Whilst it must be thoroughgoing, it must be undertaken urgently to ensure that a new environment emerges. Accordingly, all the matters that were on the agenda will require an informal discussion amongst all Cosatu affiliated unions, which will culminate in a CC to endorse a package of proposals emerging from this engagement. In this regard, the CC agreed to allow the national office bearers, working with the ANC task team and the former Cosatu leaders, to develop proposals on how this engagement will be undertaken. The CC task team, the ANC task team is meeting the former Cosatu leaders this Saturday, the 22nd of November 2014, and will meet the Cosatu national office bearers on Monday or at worst on Tuesday to develop this roadmap for these discussions to take place. The CC, however, did receive a report and took a decision based on that report that was presented by the Cosatu president regarding the call by some of the Cosatu unions that a special national congress be convened in line with the provisions of the Constitution. The CEC endorsed the report, which includes working towards setting a date for the special national congress to be held. The date will be finalized as part of the engagement with all the Cosatu affiliated unions. Further, the CC discussed the status of the second deputy president and decided to confirm her status as the second deputy president in the light of her seamless move from NUMSA to Pope Crew, where she was elected a shop steward. The CC acknowledged that the Cosatu Constitution does not provide clarity in cases where a member or shop steward or union representative changes a workplace after their election into a Cosatu office bearer position. This matter requires a discussion as part of the agreed to process so that consideration is given on whether a constitution should not be amended to provide this clarity. The CC agreed not to proceed with the 6th Central Committee scheduled for the 24th to the 26th of November, as it will be counterproductive in the current state of affairs. This is not the full statement.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I think we should cover the fact that all these other matters in the agenda are then in the process.
Yeah. That's all we can say. Patrick, in enlarging my... Okay, here is the end of the statement. The NOBs reiterate the statement they issued on the 14th of November, which we have just read. Let's just emphasize. There were issues that were on the agenda for discussion, which include the two issues that the CC have now taken firm decisions on. The issue of the Congress, the Special Congress, the CC did decide that that Special Congress must be convened in line with the provisions of the Constitution. In relation to the status of the second deputy president, the CC did take a firm decision that she is affirmed as the second deputy president in line with the details that are contained in the statement. All the rest of the other issues have been put into this informal process, which we hope will start as soon as next week, and then we will then wait for the package to emerge, and that package itself then will be subjected to the constitutional decision of the CC. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, that's what was decided yesterday.
Thank you very much, General Secretary. I'll now take questions. Can I just remind you, as usual, to introduce yourselves and to press both the buttons in front of you, the one on the speaker and the one at the table. And we'll take, as usual, groups of three. They all seem to be on this side. 1, 2, 3.
Only one. Pet. Then pass your pen.
Amy Musgrave, Independent Media. Firstly, I just want to know regarding the charges against the GS, what the process is now. I know in the ANC report they said they suggested that it's something that should happen quickly. So I'd just like to know what happens now going forward. Is there a proper hearing? If you can just explain to me how that's going to work. And then the other thing I'd like to know is, I've chatted to a couple of leaders of your affiliates, and one of their concerns is that they're very worried about 2 congresses next year and how expensive that is going to be. And obviously just the logistics around that. Would Cosatu consider having one Congress, seeing essentially they have the power to do the same thing?
My name is Hajra Marshall from ANN 7. The question is very simple. Is the General Secretary facing charges or not?
Would it be correct to say that the ANC intervention, the task team intervention over the last couple of days has brought some sense to the process that was unfolding in Cosatu over the last month? Secondly, it seems as if it's accepted that the way out of this is a special national congress. What will the position of NUMSA be? The GS wrote his letter to affiliates in which he's made some demands regarding NUMSA's expulsion. What's the position regarding that?
Thank you very much. Who would like to reply?
Thanks. Thank you very much, Pat, and good afternoon, good morning to everybody. Emmy, yours will be the same question in an attempt to respond to with the question Hajra is raising, because that's precisely the reason why we saw the need to really set the record straight. We have said in our statement it is not true that charges have been reinstated against the General Secretary. The CEC affirmed what is already there, but say the ANC-led process shall deal with that matter in a political approach that we have agreed to deal with those issues. So those matters which you call the charges are part and parcel of the political process we are going to deal with, because this is what informs the CEC decision here. It matters very, very strongly in the Federation, the issue of Cosatu's unity. And we are pulling all stops to ensure that that unity is indeed realized, that divisions and cracks within the Federation are really closed, notched. And we believe very strongly that this approach that we have adopted, all of us, they will result in uniting the Federation. So please, everybody must understand that it is not a question of treating the General Secretary of Cosatu differently from anybody within the Federation. Remember, the GS 20 months ago in this CEC said it quite clearly: Cosatu is the organization and that nobody is above Cosatu. It continues to reign. We are dealing with the issue in the manner that will unite the Federation. We are not sparing him. We're not treating him with soft gloves. We are simply focusing ourselves to the unity of the Federation. It matters most to this leadership that sits here as the Central Executive Committee. And that's why we decided that we are taking that process to that process of the political management, which will culminate into the Central Executive Committee endorsing the package that comes out of there. There is no slaughtering of the Cosatu General Secretary. Everybody must be treated unfairly, and we are appealing to members to fairly. Everybody must be treated fairly in Cosatu. We are guided by that principle. Now, the academic question you are raising, Hajra, then therefore is responded in that fashion. Yes, I can see you are happy with that. the issue of the Special National Congress and the normal Congress, it's a matter that we have resolved, but we are taking it further because 7 unions of Cosatu, who happen to be the majority of the unions that have made a request for a Special National Congress, were not in the CEC. We shall be engaging with them with a view to see that how do we match the two together. The reasons for the call for a Special National Congress and the fact that this cannot be held this year. Everybody see that rationality. But next year we have a National Congress. Can we afford to have 2 national congresses in the same year? The CEC would feel that that's a challenge, but the president of Cosatu does not have the power to change the dates of a normal Congress of Cosatu. It is the CEC. So that's why there's still going to be a discussion. There is a suggested period when this Congress should be held, but if you have to merge the two, you must take on board the constitutional right of the CEC to express itself on the scheduled ordinary Congress of Cosatu, but accommodate the request for a Special National Congress. I think that explains that the leadership would then be able to act. I will try to be very careful on this one in answering, because it's a very critical question you are raising, Mr. Dilang. What will be the role of, what will be the position of NUMSA in a Special National Congress? We have on the, was it the 9th, communicated the decision of the Special Central Executive Committee as it met on the 9th, the decision to expel NUMSA. Is it closed? Is it all gone? By this time, people should be aware that that is a matter that is decided, but there is what we've just pronounced now, a continued political process and political work that work, because it's inconceivable. It cannot be that Cosatu can be without the metal workers in Cosatu. So we must continue to do everything possible. But NUMSA itself has a responsibility wherever they are. They have a responsibility in meeting us halfway on the work that we are doing, in ensuring that workers orders. What is the clarity?
President, are you saying that NUMSA's expulsion is part of the political
You will wait to see.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3. I'll come to the others.
About the ANC, they brought sanity.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm on. Look, man.
We'll come back to that question.
They will come. Look, let's deal with it. We have been working with the ANC from last year when all these issues started. The ANC formally came in April, and the CEC sitting here on the 8th of April formally accepted the intervention of the ANC. What is happening right now, and if I was to go into bits of some details, each time the ANC has been brought on board, we have gone out, individual or as a group, this leadership, the 6 of us, say, ANC, come in now, we think we are here now, can you come in and help us? So it's not going to be a question of whether the ANC has brought in some sense. The ANC received a report or submissions from the unions in their work. They compiled a report, which report the CEC has accepted and is using that report to heal its own difficulties and divisions. So it's not going to be a question of some sense being brought by the ANC. Remember, the ANC said solutions will come from Cosatu. We are using the report of the ANC to build and strengthen our own unity. So it can't be that we were blind and then lightning came through the ANC and then we're seeing the light. We're working with the ANC. We have behind the scene, we've had in the past 3 days or 4 days, 2 critical meetings with the ANC, sharing solutions over this matter. So there is a very positive participation of the ANC task team in this process, very, very strongly, but it comes from the leadership of Cosatu that sits here, because any solution they can provide, if it is not accepted by this leadership, it will not be realized.
Right. 1, 2.
Okay, I'm Ranjini Bansami from the Daily Mandate. Firstly, the charges against the General Secretary. The fact that, Mr. Dlamini, that you're saying that it is now subjected to the political processes means that you're effectively conceding that the charges were against the General Secretary were in fact political. Because otherwise it's a internal disciplinary matter. Why is this being subjected to a political process? Secondly, on the issue of the second deputy president, Zingiso Nosi, your statement says she has decided to confirm her status. What does that mean? That she just arbitrarily decides to be the second deputy president? And as far as I know, that is also an issue that is dividing Cosatu. So how come that was not deferred to the political process along with the other matters? And finally, is what you're saying about NUMSA and the discussions around in this political process, are you saying that NUMSA's expulsion can be reversed by through this ANC process? And if so, isn't that rather bizarre that you're handing over issues that Cosatu should be controlling to your senior affiliate? I mean, your senior alliance partner. Thank you.
Tony from ENCA. I may be asking the obvious here, but just for purposes of clarity. So, once again, the matters that had been on the agenda, that were brought back on the agenda after the ANC's failure to intervene, have now again been put in abeyance to allow yet another political process to take hold. And if that's the case, then why, if this political process that is again being overseen by the ANC, why not lift NUMSA's expulsion and bring it back into Cosatu so that these matters are dealt with, I guess, from the start? That does not make sense.
Okay. Number 3. Yep.
We heard that the NUMSA has about 30 days to appeal. So we just want, that's the clarity we wanted. We just wanted to hear if you've gotten any details about an appeal from NUMSA, if they've approached you at all.
Yeah. I can answer any question that have nothing to do with me. Yes.
He wants to come.
You allow me to change it.
Okay.
Okay.
If
you are discussing, if there's a possibility that you can reverse the suspension of himself, why don't you just simply lift up the suspension and allow a process where you can discuss and talk about the real issues within Cosatu that led to this situation? If NUMSA is expelled and you are trying to do this without them, is there any sense in that?
Who would like to reply?
We are whispering that perhaps we're not coming out strong enough because that question has been answered. Read the first statement that we issued on the 14th of November. It has a line that says, this process that we are embarking upon shall be as inclusive as possible. Inclusivity means that we recognize that you can't find solutions to the exclusion of others that belong to the same family. Now here is a practical issue. NUMSA has been expelled, not suspended, by the Federation. We are now starting a process where they are effectively outside the Federation. What does that mean in practical terms when you say the process must be inclusive? It means that there will have to be a separate engagement with NUMSA. Yes. That's what it means. And that will start forthwith as soon as we are able to do so, with the view of discussing the meaning of the expulsion and the meaning of finding unity in the Federation. Now we're giving you a little bit of more detail so that you can be better clarified. And let's again, the decision to expel NUMSA stands. It has not been reversed. We have not arrived at the point where we can say, as a result of this political environment, we're now taking this decision to reaffirm or to reverse that decision. We don't know. We're just about to embark on that process. But the process, we are insisting, must be as inclusive as it is possible if it is going to be about bringing about lasting solutions to the challenges that are facing the Federation. There's an old man that usually say, just to make this as a joke, from Nigeria, called Somunu. He usually say, you can never shave the man's head in his absence. That's why there must be an engagement, so that when we shave, the man is here. But for now, we're starting the process with NUMSA excluded because it has been expelled. Where that process will go to, please, we can't go to those details. I think we've given you an enough indication of where we are going to in relation to this matter. And I've addressed your question, Tepiso, as well, in the process.
Yeah, she also raised whether there's an appeal or not.
No, the appeal, no, we have not received any appeal from NUMSA yet. You remember NUMSA announced that it is convening its own meetings to consult. We're waiting for that process to play its own course, but we will not wait for the appeal or no appeal in order to start the engagement that we are announcing.
Yeah. Can I deal with, firstly, Oli, I don't know where you're getting that the ANC has failed in its intervention. It's not true. There's nowhere on record that the ANC has failed in its intervention, and therefore you suggesting that this is a new initiative now, going back to the ANC that has failed initially. This is a seamless process that was started more than 12 months ago, last year. In April this year, it was formalized by the CEC that the ANC is intervening. We went through a process of about 6 months engaging with the ANC task team and Cosatu affiliates. In October, they presented a report. We are implementing that report as we speak right now. The work that we're saying continues to happen next week on Tuesday after the meeting between the ANC and the National Office Bearers on Saturday is the continuation of the work. We've been working, we have not stopped working for this unity of this federation. Remember.
Let me just emphasize one more point. We are not being pulled by anybody by the nose.
No.
Following the 7th, we met from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 3 days. That's 4 days.
3 days. 3.
Without any ANC or without anybody. And the statement you're seeing here was issued as a result of that engagement.
So we are conscious about this. It's not an easy process. And we're pulling all stops to ensure that at the end of the day, this Cosatu is united. We are working with that very ANC. It is part and parcel of the of this process, and therefore there's been no point in time where we have said the ANC then has thrown in the towel and failed to help. We are working with them. This is a continuation of the process. Why don't you lift, Zweli has answered that question, why don't you then lift the expulsion of NUMSA, the decision to expel? He has thoroughly answered that question on the political work that is going on. I won't try to repeat that. Ranjan, I don't know where, sometimes I fail to understand how journalists think, because journalists are human beings just as I am. And how do they come to certain conclusions? Just like a conclusion that would say the charges were political. Where does that come from?
That was what you said.
No. I'm saying the issue of the charges, that we are subjecting that to a political process, is not a confirmation of the fact that they were political. Leave and allow the GS the space in the good time to respond to the charges which we are dealing with in this process now. And please don't ask him why, what did you mean, because that's another area. So I would appeal that don't do that, but also don't put Cosatu in a position of responding to the political nature or non-political nature of the charges. We have set a political process to deal with that. It does not suggest they were therefore political. Relax on that one. I don't know, again, Ranjani, where do you get that the second deputy president affirmed her position?
It's your statement.
If the statement says she affirmed, it will be wrong. So
Decided to confirm her status. Yeah.
the CEC, not herself, the CEC confirmed her status. It is the CEC that confirmed that she is the second deputy president of Cosatu, based on the reason we're outlining there, that the seamless move from NUMSA to POPCRU, from Ford to SABC, does not temper with the constitutional issue, and this is the constitutional issue. The Constitution says a national office bearer of Cosatu ought to be an elected shop steward at his or her workplace or an office bearer. She qualifies on both. Where she is right now, she is an elected shop steward and an office bearer. So the CEC says it's a seamless move, and then identifies, because the CEC interprets the Constitution of Cosatu, no other structure except the Congress. The CEC interprets the Constitution and finds a gap that still exists where it is silent on what ought to happen when you then move from workplace 1 to workplace 2 in less than a week. That's a matter that must be then resolved by Congress, not for Zingiswa, but for Cosatu. So we're going through that process, but we have agreed, because we appreciate that 7 affiliates who may be amongst those that would have raised the issue, as I think you correctly put it, that issue has been in the public, were not present in the discussion of the CEC. So the political process shall also help to nudge that particular issue for one reason only. Let's strengthen our constitution to close any further debate that can arise in future about that particular aspect. Okay, all questions have been responded. It has been responded to.
Let me answer, because there is further dissemination of information that is not correct in the Twitter as we speak.
From where now? From here?
From here. There's ANN7 says the decision to expel NUMSA stands, it cannot be reversed. That's Cosatu Pressa live on DSTV 405.
That's not me.
Right, and I'm not saying it's you. And there's someone else who says the decision to expel NUMSA stands. The decision will not be reversed, says Vavi.
Anyway, proceed.
No. Let's clarify, because I think that we are misunderstanding. I'm saying the decision to expel NUMSA was not reversed. Yesterday, there was a meeting yesterday. That decision was not reversed. That matter was, in fact, not even discussed on the agenda for a discussion. It is not up for discussion for now. There is no appeal, there is no interaction, there is no engagement. So the decision stands in that context. Secondly, we're saying we are now starting a process, a political process starting informally amongst the affiliates of Cosatu. The question arises, where will be NUMSA in that process? So we answer a question. NUMSA will be engaged with a view of ensuring that it participates in a solution that Cosatu seeks to achieve as part of that process. At what point will that happen? What are the conditions in relation to the decision? We don't know yet, because we're still going to have a discussion with the leadership of NUMSA. All we know is that you cannot shave the man in his absence. And that's why we're saying there will have to be an engagement with NUMSA. And I thought that's what we were clarifying. We're not saying we will not reverse the decision, or we will reverse the decision before the discussion have happened. So allow us to engage with everybody with a view of ensuring that we unite the federation. And that's the only purpose. I don't know where is the confusion now.
This is the last round now.
Right, last round. We'll have 1, 2, and
still stands on what you said, that you do not support the expulsion of NUMSA, or the decision of the expulsion of NUMSA. And also, as Cosatu leaders, you've been at it for a while now. When are you actually going to deal with worker-related issues?
Natasha from the state. Please forgive my ignorance, but I really need final clarity on this. Does the fact that the GS, the charges against the GS, does the fact that it's going to a political process mean that it's not a disciplinary process anymore? I just want clarity. I just can't understand how it's going to work. And did you discuss litigation against Cosatu, which includes from the employee as well as from other affiliates of Cosatu? Thanks. Okay, I'll go to Amy Media. Probably won't be able to answer this question, but I'm going to try anyway. That report that was done, the Seismic reporter report. I mean, besides the allegations that it makes against Barbie, I mean, it's even more hectic when it comes to Colin Machida. I mean, what is happening regarding Colin, or are you going to wait for this process to be completed first? Thank you.
Okay. I know the last time I was said to be a stop record, but I will be once again. Are matters that ought to have been taken, that were on the agenda, put in abeyance? Is this yet another process where everything is put in abeyance to allow this political process, you say, to take hold? Even when it doesn't succeed, therefore then all those issues are back on again. What is this?
Thank you to the GS and for clarifying the workers sitting in the office tweeting on AN7's account.
We didn't accuse anyone.
Okay, so for clarity, right? There's spin and there's trying to tell it like it is. Someone just SMS'd me saying when we walked into the room, the charges against the GS were in abeyance. When we walked out of the room, the charges against the GS were no longer in abeyance. In their mind, that means the charges are in play and it's been reinstated, although I accept that it is part of a political process. So can you clarify that, please?
Okay, thank you all very much. And I'll now hand over to the NOB's final responses.
I'll not speak about myself, so the president
Can answer the questions about myself. I want to answer the issues about the rest of what's inside.
The statement we issued does not speak about abeyance. There is no abeyance. In the previous statements, we used the term place all matters in abeyance. What that meant was that we will not discuss these issues until the ANC has brought back proposals about how those issues could be handled. The ANC have brought the report into the CC that took place on the 21st to the 23rd.
And all the camera mics as well.
Let me repeat. We have not used the word abeyance in the statement because that's not the decision. We have previously used that term from the 8th of April 2014 when we said there were about 8 matters we will not discuss until the ANC has brought back a report on how those issues could be handled, amongst others. It is this lady who keeps on cutting
your back.
Your back.
Yeah.
My comrade
Sure.
and friend.
Press that one again.
On the 21st to 23rd of October, we received a report from the ANC. What did that mean? It meant that we can now begin to discuss all the matters previously placed or put in abeyance. So we started to have a discussion. The first matter was the NUMSA decision. The second matter was supposed to be the second deputy president of Cosatu status. The third matter was supposed to be the Special National Congress. The fourth matter was supposed to be the General Secretary disciplinary questions and other disciplinary related questions. The fifth matter was blah, 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 all of those issues. Yeah. We are discussing those matters. We are no longer putting them in abeyance. Now, in discussing them, the CEC yesterday says we are taking a firm decision about the Congress, the Special Congress. It shall happen next year. How and what in the context of the fact that there is another Congress in September is a matter subject to the process that we've just articulated. On the second deputy president, the CC says, in our view, this is the status, but we will discuss the related matters about the constitution of the federation that needs to be clarified. On the issue of the General Secretary, the CC says this matter must be referred to the political process. On the other issues that were all there, challenges, legal, all of those issues into the political process. So we are trying to answer that question again for the third or fourth time. So what does that mean? Please don't ask us that because we're still going to have a discussion in the process. We don't know. That means all I know is that I'm not going to the hearing next week.
Yes.
If you want that question, or next month, until the process have unfolded. What will be the result of that process? We don't know because we have not started that process. All we know is that the overarching challenge we face at this moment is the unity of workers under Cosatu. So we're trying to answer that question again. That's the process. All of those things go into the process. What does that mean in relation to Natasha? We've explained that now again. Yoliswa, where do we stand? The process, we've now explained it better, I think, and even though we are repeating each other. But when do we start to answer or to deal with the workers' issues? Difficult question, because to say we're dealing with no worker issues will not be correct.
Yes.
We are dealing with the worker issues on a range of issues. We're going to Parliament to make a submission on the question of the national minimum wage. We are in NEDLEC as we speak. Some of us, people are all over the show doing the Cosatu work. But where we must admit is that we are not firing with all of the 4 cylinders, precisely because of the impact of the divisions. We should be doing much more than we are doing now if we were not in the state that you know. So that's why we think that this thing is urgent, so that we can return back to the normality of a campaigning federation, a fighting federation that is preoccupied with the agenda of the working class and the organized workers in particular. And that's why we think that this matter is very urgent for us to start this process, as you have seen in the statement. We want to start as early as next week so that we can close this chapter and go back to a federation that is campaigning, that is fighting, that is known in society not as a federation at each other's neck, but as a federation that is on the neck of the exploiters of workers and so forth. So that we're quite aware of that. In fact, all of the discussions that we're referring to that made it possible for us to issue that statement are informed by the fact that we recognize that the current state of affairs is happening at the expense of the agenda of the working people in our country and all over the world. Where do I stand in relation to the letter that I've written to the CC? May I just say that it's not going to help the process now to say, I stand by what I said, I don't stand by what I said anymore. All I'm saying is that there is a process which I'm totally committed to, that we have now articulated, that I will participate in as a general secretary and in my own capacity as an individual, to ensure that we build the unity of the federation moving forward. What happened last week and what happened in the 7th of November and all of the difficulties that have led to the current state of affairs is important for the history record, but it is not important to define how we should begin to do our work to build and to rebuild the unity of the federation.
Yeah. I see that everybody is satisfied now.
Yes, yes.
We are building Cosatu. That's what we're busy with, all of us. We are engaged in that. It's not an easy process. We are building the federation against all odds. Against all odds. We are building Cosatu, working together and making a call to all the members of Cosatu affiliates and all South Africans that have fallen in love with Cosatu and what it has been doing. We are indeed hell-bent for that particular unity. Does it matter what Dumo feels about the decisions of the federation? It doesn't. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the organization is trying to do to build its own unity. Let's circle in all your minds, and in particular you, because we trust you to communicate what we're trying to communicate in the opportunity that you are giving us. We are building the federation.
Can I just ask one thing, please?
Yeah.
Your alliance partner, the SACP, is having a press conference because it's meant to start at 12. We got notices while we were sitting here. And it's on Cosatu. Surely that's interference, and now that this agreement you reach is so fragile, how do you feel about your affiliate calling a press conference to pronounce on your affairs now?
See, Ranjan, you can't ask us to speak about something that is not in our statement today. And the information you're getting from somewhere, the SACP is our ally. Actually, the SACP is part and parcel of this work. There may be issues that angazike mangifika by journalist. What you know, I don't know. I know that there is an alliance. It is Cosatu, it is the SACP, It is led by the ANC. That's an alliance that we stand on. And we all are agreed in ensuring the unity of Cosatu. We all are agreed in ensuring the unity of the workers under the banner of Cosatu in South Africa. We trust that that's the message the SACP will be sending, even in its statement. If it is talking about Cosatu, it's going to be a message that emphasizes the unity of the federation. Lastly, because you may say now they didn't specifically talk about what is to happen to Colin Machila. There is no discussion to that point as we stand right now, because all those matters are in the process that we have agreed to, the outcomes of which will be a product of an engagement. But you cut me, Ranjeni, when I'm emphasizing the point which you should, as the mode of communicating messages in South Africa, help us to communicate. It's no more about us as individual leaders here. It is about the workers of this country. It's about an organization, Cosatu, built by and through the sweat and blood of workers many, many years ago. It's not about us. We are resolved, committed to this process. Help us. Help us to build this federation. Yes. That's our appeal. I actually would want to pose a discussion. I know the president wants to say something. I would want to pose a challenge to yourselves and the news editors. Let's have a debate on how far should you people rely on reliable sources, or are reliable sources really reliable?
Like the SMS we have just received.
I want a debate on that question. You must come with a sport, Babamvok. Can we have a discussion? Why would media rely on reliable sources for them to make the news in the country, other than the authority information, and question the information coming from the authority of the organization? Let's have that debate and see whether we can build South Africa better going forward. Thank you very much. The president wants to say his word and we must close.
The last word, President. I think it is very important for all of you who are here today to communicate this message that we are giving out there accurately. President has also touched on what I wanted to touch, that in your search for a scoop, please don't distort the truth. Please remember that everybody in this country depends on accurate journalism, because it's you who must inform the public. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much to our office bearers and to yourselves. Our timing is perfect. The SACP press conference was postponed till 12:30, which is exactly what it is now. And they're on the fourth floor. They're on the fourth floor.
Okay.